Okay, everybody, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deborah Niblick, and I am the Senior Librarian of Adult and Teen Services here at the Monterey Park Bregomire Library. Thank you so much for attending today Nature for All presentation with Asian Pacific Islander Forward Movement. Today's program is being recorded and will be uploaded to the City of Monterey Park's YouTube channel in case you need to step away for any reason. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and drop them into the chat that you have access to, and we'll go ahead and have all those answers at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker, Jean Park. Jean, whose pronouns are she and her, is a community engagement coordinator at API Forward Movement. She has worked on the Clean Air SGV campaign and is currently a member for the Nature for All Coalition and the Los Angeles ZEA Task Force. She is also the Community Engagement Director of AAJIL, which is the Asian American Justice and Innovation Lab, which offers general racial justice education that employs a decolonial framework and intentionally integrates Asian American histories and experiences. And during her free time, she enjoys watching documentaries, thrifting, and lounging around with her two cats. I do the same, but I have three cats. So anyways, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jean and enjoy today's presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deborah, for introducing me and for the Monterey Park Bregomire Library for hosting this amazing session. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen actually before I start. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, get that figured out. All right, so hopefully everyone can see the screen clearly. Sometimes it does get blurry, so please feel free to let me know in the case that it does. Just adjust it real quick. Awesome. So yeah, thank you again so much for having me, for allowing API Forward Movement to present during this Earth Day celebration. I'm so excited to be sharing today as part of this Earth Day celebration. And as Deb had mentioned, my name is Jean. I'm a community engagement coordinator with API Forward Movement. And before we get started, I actually wanted to just acknowledge that while the movement and support for global environment protection is something that we should all be striving towards, I also wanted to acknowledge the original caretakers of the land in which I'm settled on. I'm calling from the unceded territories of the Tongva, also known as the Kitch peoples, which is now known as Los Angeles. And I also wanted to share, in case anyone is interested, a website. I can actually drop it in the chat as well. Sorry, let me get my chat open. But it is an interactive map called Native Land. It shows Indigenous territories around the world so that you can learn about which territories you're on and learn about your land's original caretakers. So if anyone's interested, I can drop that in the chat as well. And so now I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing a little bit about API Forward Movement and the work that we do. At our core, API Forward Movement is an organization that's focused on equal access to healthy food and a healthy environment. We aim to be inclusive of all communities, but specifically targeted when it comes to API communities, since we're one of the only API Asian Pacific Islander serving organizations focused on health and environmental justice in the nation. Our work is currently focused on 4 key aspects that aim to foster those vibrant and healthy communities. The first being culture and community health. We've been able to serve an estimated 7,500 families in 8 different languages every year. We believe that language accessibility plays such an important role in communicating public health services, as well as culturally relevant information to the residents of San Gabriel Valley. We also work to provide healthy food access and education through programs such as HEAL and Food Routes. They both provide nutritional education as well as sustainable food systems. Another focus of ours is active living and transportation, where we amplify programs like our Chinatown Fit Club. And lastly, our environmental justice leg, which works to encapsulate programs such as the Clean Air SGV campaign that Deborah had mentioned earlier, tobacco prevention campaign, and as well as Nature for All, which we'll go into a little bit later. And if you'd like any more information about our website, it is at apifm.org. It also houses some of the great work that we're doing, so please feel free to visit that as well if you're interested. And also wanted to share a little bit about a coalition that API Forward Movement is actually a part of called Nature for All. Nature for All is a coalition which advocates for policies and programs that protect the mountains and rivers in our area to conserve resources and as well as be more climate resilient. Protect mountains and rivers in our area. Oh, sorry about that. Create more natural spaces such as parks, bike paths that have been lacking in historically underserved neighborhoods. And lastly, to connect people and public lands through more trails, more outdoor recreational opportunities in order to improve public health. One of the reasons APIFM joined this coalition is to build stronger API understandings and support for the protection of California public lands. So for example, this work can look like translating materials and documents relevant to the campaign, such as petitions, developing culturally and linguistically relevant virtual workshops that bring nature to people, and lastly, by connecting people and public lands through virtual hikes and recreational opportunities that are also abiding by the state's social distancing orders as well, since we are still in the pandemic. And I also wanted to share a very important bill that our coalition is currently pushing for. It is called the San Gabriel Mountains, Foothills, and Rivers Protection Act, also known as HR 693. It was initially introduced by Congresswoman Judy Chu, but since its introduction, it's gotten a lot of support in Congress. And for a little bit of background information about the particular bill, the San Gabriel Mountains provide 70% of LA County's open space, and there's a great need for improved visitor services, access to nature for our diverse urban population, and as well as expanded natural resource protection. And to address these issues, this bill aims to expand the San Gabriel National Monument by adding over 100,000 acres in the upper LA watershed. This is a map of a vision map that Nature for All had created that kind of explains what the bill would do. So all these lines, it's a bit hard to see. It's a little bit small, but this is also available on the Nature for All website, which I can also paste in the chat a little bit later. But this just shows a kind of what the bill would actually expand. So these green lines is what the additional acres would provide in terms of protection and conservation. This bill would also expand wilderness area designations within the San Gabriel Mountains by 30,000 acres, and as well as designate over 45 miles of wild and scenic rivers into the San Gabriel Mountains. So one of the amazing things that this bill does is it encapsulates a bunch of different conservative efforts for public lands, and especially for Los Angeles, seeing as the San Gabriel Mountains encapsulates about 70%, so almost about 3/4 of the open and public land that we have access to in LA County. And because I shared a little bit about the bill, I did want to share some opportunities for folks who are interested in supporting this current effort to protect our environment, especially since San Gabriel residents, as I'm assuming many of you are often faced with park deficit neighborhoods, air pollution, as well as limited access to these public lands. So one of the things that the bills would do would be to kind of crack down on all those issues that San Gabriel Valley residents are being faced with right now by providing access to these open spaces, making sure that environments are protected so that we don't have ongoing air pollution, as well as create greater spaces for open areas so that people don't have to rely on the few parks that are in their neighborhood. They can just go right into their backyard, into the San Gabriel Mountains, and explore the area safely, making sure that, our elected officials are making sure that this area is being prioritized in terms of protection. So this is a link to, or this is some information about the petition, and I'll also just copy the petition that we have on our website that we encourage folks to sign if folks are interested in supporting these protections for the San Gabriel Mountains. Feel free to share with family, friends, businesses, organizations who value these public lands, public health, as well as equity and climate resilience. And as mentioned before, APIFM's involvement in the Nature for All Coalition is also bringing that perspective and that support for API communities as well. And so we have this petition available in Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, and Chinese. I'll also put the link that houses all of those different petitions in the different languages in the chat as well. If you'd like to share with family members or other community members who you think that would be of interest to. So I'll put that as well. And lastly, for folks who are interested in showing a little bit more support, we're also taking testimonials from community members who are 18 and over. So if anyone knows anyone who might be interested in submitting a testimonial, these are just some examples of testimonials that folks have submitted. And it's pretty much just showing, different experiences that folks have with the San Gabriel Mountains and why it's important to them. We've gotten testimonials from folks who share about the positive benefits of the San Gabriel Mountains and what it does to their mental and emotional health. Or we've gotten testimonials about why they personally think it's important to protect and preserve the San Gabriel Mountains and much more. And these can also all be found on our website at apifm.org. If any of you guys would like to read, share, or just read about, why the San Gabriel Mountains is important to other community members as well. And there's also a link there. If anyone is interested in submitting a testimonial, there's a link for you to check out with a little bit more information. It'll also have some guiding questions if anyone wants to submit but don't know what to write about. So I'll put that in the chat as well. And with that, that concludes the presentation portion. Wanted to keep it a little short just so you guys can get a sense of the work that we do at API Forward Movement, but also more importantly, what the coalition, the Nature for All Coalition is doing, especially today as we're celebrating Earth Week and Earth Day as we celebrate every day. Wanted to really emphasize the work that the coalition has been doing. It's been doing some great work in regards to public land conservation and protection. So hope that was interesting to you all. This last slide is just my contact information. If anyone wants to follow up with any questions, I'd love to engage further, provide more information as well. And lastly, if you'd like to follow the work that we're doing at API Forward Movement, please feel free to connect with us on our social media pages and of course, on our website as well. And so with that, we're going to move on to an interactive portion of our workshop. So I can go ahead and stop sharing for now. All right, cool. And let me just get this ready. All right, cool. So I'm hoping that everyone had a chance to grab a copy of the Woodsy activity book from the library. If you have, the exercise that we'll be doing right now is on actually page 5. It's called Design Your Own City. And if there are folks who do not have the booklet or were not able to pick it up, I'll also drop a link to the Woodsy Activity Explorer page from the UCLA website. They also provide a PDF version of the book in case anyone just wants to follow along. Again, it's on page 5. And I kind of wanted to dedicate the next, let's see how much time we have, about 20 minutes to just designing our own city. So if you see the page, it looks like this. It's on this page. So it shows a winding road and it encourages folks to kind of just draw what you envision your own city to be. So whether that's including mountains in your backyard, like we had just discussed with the San Gabriel Mountains in the San Gabriel Valley area. If you want to draw a movie theater or places to hang out, such as parks or other open spaces or restaurants where you would get food. Just think about some of the questions that this booklet has at the bottom, such as what would be your favorite place to go in your city? So think about some of the places that you love exploring. What's the weather like in your city? Deborah and I were just talking about how hot it is. Now that we enter the summer, the summertime brings more different activities, different weather. And so, keep that into consideration when you're designing your own city. What would that look like? And then also, where would you live in your city? In the booklet, you can or on that page in the booklet, you can specify, where you'd be living within your city and what that means to be a part of this community or in your city. So hopefully everyone has access to the book, or if not, has access to the PDF that I just linked in the chat. And we can go ahead and spend the next 20-ish minutes just drawing, kind of take time to be creative with it. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, as mentioned before, please feel free to drop in the chat. I'll try and help out as best as I can. But if that's okay with everyone, we can go ahead and start doing that. I think I saw a few folks hop in, so I'll just kind of summarize what we're doing now. We are doing a kind of creative exercise in the UCLA Woodsy Explorer book. If you are not able to, or if you weren't able to pick up a copy at the library, I'll drop the link in the chat again so you can access the exercise that we're doing right now. If you click on the link, it'll take you to a page, and once you scroll down, you just scroll down to page 5 or open up page 5 in your actual booklet. It's a design your own city creative exercise. So just encouraging everyone to be creative, design what you think your own city would look like, whether that be including open spaces such as parks, where you and your friends would hang out, family members would hang out, where you like to eat, where you live. Just a time to be creative and take a few minutes to draw. So we'll be doing that until about 3:40.
And also, everyone, feel free to go ahead and share your ideas as you're drawing your city. So all of you should be able to unmute yourself at this point right now, or you can just drop some stuff and some ideas into the chat. So I don't know, Jean, what would your city look like?
Yeah, I think the first thing I thought of was just places where friends and I hang out. We actually love going hiking. We love just being out at parks, especially this past year because of the COVID pandemic. We've been trying to just be outdoors more often. So yeah, my first thing I'll be drawing is definitely just a little park with maybe some benches, and yeah. But feel free to, unmute, as Deborah said. Feel free to share in the chat any ideas you all have.
Right,
I'd
so
love
you can
to
be as
hear.
grand or you can be as basic as you want. Personally, my city. Oh, okay. One thing that I do like that they're starting to do now is that I think they're doing, I think in Malibu, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Jean, but they are actually building overpasses for animals to cross over safely so you don't have roadkill. So they're basically these large bridges that have grass, land, trees that like deer, cougars, anything you can think of can cross safely so they don't get hit by cars. To not only just like to preserve the wildlife, but just to make the habitat more habitable, I guess you can say. And I don't know if any of you knew that the LA River used to have its own vegetation when it was an actual river. So if I could have my own city, I would like to designate part of it to where you can bring back some of those lost species of trees. and even some of the trees and the flowers, just try and bring them back to, when we actually had that kind of thing. I think that would be really cool just to have that option. Or definitely I would have a ton of community gardens, because I mean, if you live in a tiny apartment like I do, you don't really have a garden. So just to have that space to not only unwind and to actually grow your own food, it's pretty stinking awesome. So I definitely would have that, and more like stuff to do with families. That's nice, like rivers. Like I would, do my whole beach. I would create a whole separate beach too. So if I had my way.
I love that. I love the community garden idea. That's definitely going into my city as well. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Definitely. Does anybody want to share any ideas that they got? We won't twist your arm, but be cool to hear what you have in mind. I mean, would you ever consider having a city where no cars are allowed?
That would be great.
I wonder what that would look like. Just means everything's easily accessible, right?
Yeah, and actually, I just got a message from someone who mentioned public and active transportation.
Right.
So yeah, would love that. Encouraging, cities to have, just more ability for folks to utilize micromobilities. So, even safe streets and, bike lanes for folks to utilize those kinds of transportation as well.
Really? Let me see. Where's the chat? There it is. Hold on. Huh. Do you see anything in the chat, Jean?
Yeah, I see. I also, sorry, Kristen, I missed yours, but Kristen wrote a huge library with a beautiful outdoor space, which I love as well.
Oh, yeah. We would give anything for a patio.
Yeah.
I'm also, when you look, and this is another thing that we have to keep in mind, is when it comes to wanting to build these cities, we got to think of it from all aspects, to be not just ecosystem, but also from a social justice kind of perspective. Because if you go to a lot of poor areas, you have food deserts. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with food deserts, where the only thing available is fast food and they don't have access to supermarkets that have fresh veggies and fruit, stuff like the more healthier aspect. Whereas if you go to more affluent, more wealthier, you're going to have an abundance of markets and ways to get access to that kind of food. So I would definitely figure out a way to put, I mean, if we have those community gardens, like have those locally run markets where food doesn't cost $7 for one apple, in theory. I think it's important that everybody has equal access to food. Anybody else have any good ideas? We have transportation, making sure food security, that's what it's called, right? Food security?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I love the idea of community gardens and even just pushing for that. I think that's great. Not only, yeah, does like you had mentioned, that circles back to what we were saying about like sustainability and protecting our lands and not, exploiting the resources that we have, but also, making sure that our communities are being fed and being sustained in a way that also isn't, exploitative as well in that way,
Right.
not creating greater, equity issues over food.
Oh, and Bruggemeyer Library, yes. Here at the library and also at the senior center, we have solar panels coming in. Ours are almost done. I think Langley's is probably done-ish. I'm not 100% sure, but certain city sites will have the solar panels, which is not only great to offset the cost of energy for the city, but also to provide some kind of shade for y'all when you come visit the library.
Yeah, I also got a, oh, this is a direct message, so I don't know if you all see it, but I'll share what this person wrote. They wrote different native plants around the area for biodiversity to make sure native plants don't go extinct. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, that reminds me of a new, it's called a, I guess, art walk, but I'm not sure what the actual term is, but they're creating this new kind of walkway in the Crenshaw district of Los Angeles. And they're actually trying to, with that project, incorporate a lot of native plants, plants that are native to this area within that project. And so I love that. I think it's really not only just informative for people to know about what, you know, the native plants are of this area, but also to just see, you know, what difference that makes when we actually care for our land and prioritize, you know, plants that are native to this area too.
Right, because those are the ones that probably are going to need less water, right? We'll have less resources.
Mm-hmm.
So Jean, is there anything you could say about things like green energy and that kind of thing? Can you say anything on that in regards to, like, so if we build this city, we rely on a variety of types of energy sources?
Yeah, I know. I don't know too much about it, but I can say, yeah, a lot of my colleagues are working right now in different types of green energy. I know solar is definitely something that my colleague Jay Show is pushing for. He's a policy coordinator at API Forward Movement, and so he's been doing a lot of research and kind of implementing solar in businesses and residential areas, and kind of what that looks like for community members who want to engage in, you know, having solar panels and utilizing solar energy. It is definitely it's difficult to kind of push on a more city level, I guess, from what I've heard from him. But there are definitely opportunities for individuals who want to incorporate solar. But yeah, I think in terms of kind of creating that shift in the resources and energies that the city depends on, that might take a little bit longer, but definitely I think the steps that we're taking are making those opportunities definitely more available and accessible to people.
Right. And I just saw a message from Andy. He said he ran at the park a few days ago and he saw our solar panels being built. And if you didn't know, Jean, we actually have a brand new fitness center in Barnes Park, which is the park across the way here at the library, that anybody could use to encourage physical fitness. Because obviously, when we want to focus on things like healthy living, exercise is obviously a big part. So, like, I think the idea of creating a city where everything is accessible either by bike or by walking or public trams, where, you know, just to get people moving, I think that's also another plus, is to encourage longevity in communities. I think those are the most successful ones. And yeah, one of these days, maybe after work, I'll go try out that court. It's really cool. It's some of the stuff is just FYI, guys. Some of it's kind of self-explanatory, but the other one you are going to need an app to use, or you just read or you know, just like anybody else, read the directions if you read directions. But it's cool. You don't have to pay 35 bucks a month for it. It's here. It's for you guys to use. So hopefully you'll check it out one of these days. So how are we doing? How are you doing so far? Anybody feel like sharing now?
I also did get a message from someone who says a children's garden would be great to allow kids the space to learn how to garden, also learn about where their food comes from. And I love that as well. I think it would be so great to kind of encourage, that food sovereignty, or just learning about, sustainable food sources at a younger age.
Because if you ask kids these days, where does your food come from? The grocery store. But I did learn, here's a fun fact, y'all. I did learn it takes almost 3 years for asparagus to grow. It's a long time. So if anybody is done or feels like sharing their ideas, go ahead and unmute yourself, introduce who you are, and we'd love to hear your ideas. If not, we'll keep talking. I'm good at that.
This is me, Mrs. Sam. I would like to see if there will be like those compost. You know, like the city used to have compost workshop. I just wonder whether there will be anything like that.
You know, that's a good question. That's probably something that you could ask. I'm going to say probably Public Works to see if they're ever going to bring that back. I know, and they've been doing some really cool things, not so much composting, but I think Councilman Sornos is actually on the call, but they do like bulky item pickup so we don't litter the environment. So, I mean, obviously there's some great ideas that you can take. You can make recommendations to your city council member, or you can make recommendations to the city. I mean, I unfortunately, I don't live here, so I don't know if they've ever was when the latest composting event was, but I definitely give the city a call.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it used to, I remember there were compost workshops, but I don't see it anymore in the Cascade.
Yeah, and that could actually be a workshop the library could lead sometime. We could invite somebody who knows how to do that, and we can do that as well. So I will write that down.
Okay, please, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I just got another message about composting. Awesome. Does anyone else want to share? Or share their drawing or what they have so far?
Yeah, if you want to share your drawing, let me go ahead and so you guys can share your screens. You should be able to do it now. We would love to see your drawings or your artwork. It doesn't have to be perfect. Anyone? Don't be shy. Do you have a drawing, Jean?
I do not. I haven't had a chance to draw, but I'm going to draw something real quick. So we have a few minutes. But thank you everyone for sharing messages and just sharing, you know, what you're planning on drawing and kind of your hopes for not just your own city, but, you know, the city that you're currently living in too.
Or have you been to cities where you wish you could tell, you know, they had some really great stuff going on that you'd like to see here? I mean, that. No. Does anybody have any other questions or any other about the activity? Or again, don't be afraid to share.
And yeah, I'm not sure how Dawn or how much more folks would like to continue drawing or designing your own city. I was hoping to get a group photo of everyone's, but if folks are still working on it or I haven't finished, that's okay too. But yeah, feel free to keep sharing either in messages, or feel free to just unmute or turn your video on and share what you have.
You should be able to start your video too. Would love to see everything.
If not, that's totally okay too. Appreciate all the, comments and messages that you have shared with us. So thank you all for sharing some of those wonderful ideas. I'd love to see these ideas actually implemented in our cities. So hopefully we'll see some of these, in whatever city or neighborhood you all are in. And apologies for the sirens in the back, but since we have a little bit more time as well, I also wanted to just share another interactive kind of portion of the workshop. We're gonna do a quick kind of trivia question, trivia game. I'll make sure to share my screen, but pretty much how it works is I'll share my screen with the question, and if folks are okay, to just type in the chat what you think the answer is, and we'll, I think, spend the next, how many minutes? It's 10-ish minutes doing that, and then we can start wrapping up the presentation. But yeah, thank you all again for participating in this creative exercise. And hopefully, yeah, even after the workshop, you guys keep thinking about what you would like your own city to look like. Keep adding to that booklet page. And also, I mean, having that whole booklet too, I think this activity book has such great exercises, a lot of reflective exercises as well for folks who just want to learn more as well. So definitely recommend checking out the rest of the book. And so I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. Oops. Oh, okay. All right, let me get the chat open since my chat disappeared. So this is the first question. It'll be a series of true and false or multiple choice questions. You're not punished if you get them wrong or anything like that. But yeah, we'd just like to just kind of ask these questions, see, what folks know, what folks don't know. Would love to kind of get a sense of that. So yeah, feel free to answer in the chat. Cool. Awesome. I'm seeing overwhelmingly true. And I'll give it a minute for folks to answer. True, true. Cool. All right, so you all are all right. It is true. It is something I mentioned at the beginning of the workshop, so awesome. I'll go on to the next question. So what is one animal that could be found in the San Gabriel Mountains? The options include a bobcat, a horse, a koala, or a chimpanzee. Awesome. I'm seeing. Bobcat. I see Bigfoot in there. Awesome. You are all getting it right. Yes. So the answer is bobcat. And also just kind of wanted to mention before we continue, if folks don't have a copy of the Woodsy activity booklet, this one right here, there are still extra copies at the library. So if folks are interested in picking one up, picking extra ones up for friends or other family members, please feel free to call the library. The library number is 626-307-1358. I'll also repeat this message at the end again. But yeah, feel free to pick up another copy or a copy if you weren't able to for this workshop. So awesome. And thank you to the Monterey Park Library for creating that or allowing people to pick up those books as well. And the next question is another true and false question. Mount San Antonio, also known as Mount Baldy, is the highest point in the mountain range, standing over 10,000 feet. Oh, you guys are good. Awesome. True, true, true. Nice. Overwhelmingly true, and that is correct. Awesome. This next multiple choice question is, which US president designated the area as the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument? John F. Kennedy, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, or Joe Biden? And this might be a little bit of a trickier one, but let's see what folks pick as the answer. Okay. Let's collect a few more answers. Okay, so I'm seeing Obama, Bush, Abraham Lincoln. Let's see, give it a little bit. Bush, Bush, Bush. All right. So yeah, this one was a little bit trickier, but the answer to this is actually Barack Obama. He was the one that designated the areas that we now know as the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument. So awesome. Thank you everyone for participating, sharing your answers. And the next one is another true and false. The San Gabriel River and Los Angeles River are the major rivers that receive water from the mountains. And you all are pretty good at the true and false questions, so. Awesome. Yep, you guys are all correct. Cool. And I'm also noticing that most of my true and false questions are all true. So, so good catch on those, everyone. I think we have about 2 more questions. So this next one, another multiple choice. What is one activity you can do in the San Gabriel Mountains? Nature scavenger hunt, go fishing, plan a picnic with friends and family, or all the above. Awesome. Yeah. Cool, so I'm seeing all the above. And yeah, hopefully some of you have been able to explore the San Gabriel Mountains. There are actually tons of activities that are, safe and COVID friendly that folks are able to engage with friends, families within the San Gabriel Mountains. Part of the reason why we want to prioritize protection, it's not just for, environmental protections, but also to talk more a little bit about how having access to open and public lands, what that does for communities, public health as well. Being able to be outside and have access to these public lands not only gives you the ability to be with friends, family, to partake in these activities, but also does a great deal to improve public health as well. So thank you all for answering that. You all got that one right. And this is the last question, another true and false question. People experience more energy after spending 20 minutes outdoors. Awesome. Seeing overwhelmingly true, and that is correct. So there have been studies that have explored this a lot about kind of what our brain and kind of what our what our bodies exhibit after spending some time outdoors. They've actually also been able to study brain patterns in folks who spend time in the office but have a photo of nature on their desk, and how that has actually been stimulating as well. Also has a vitalizing effect on folks. Even just seeing a picture of nature is able to kind of have that vitalizing effect. And so definitely the ability to spend time outdoors, whether it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, or 5 minutes, it definitely does a lot for us. And especially in terms of energy, it kind of vitalizes us. So So I think everyone got that correct as well. So awesome. Thank you all so much for participating in this trivia section. Just kind of wanted to make this workshop a little bit more fun, interactive. So thank you all for doing that. I'll stop sharing my screen as well. All right, cool.
All right, thank you so much. So I guess, do you want to do the drawing?
Yeah, I can explain a little bit about that too.
Sure.
We actually are giving away something that we call a camp in a box. It's a box that comes with just a bunch of different fun activities that you can do outdoors that kind of are like camping stuff, like camping activities, other creative like exercises or fun projects that you can do outdoors that you would normally do at, camps or, oh, oops, sorry, something popped up on my screen. Got distracted a little bit. But yeah, it's a box that comes with a bunch of different activities that you can do by yourself, with friends, family. And we kind of wanted to do a opportunity drawing, give that away to someone who, to a participant in this workshop. So we wanted to make that drawing kind of random so that, everyone has an equal opportunity to win that drawing. So, and I know we're going to do it just based on, I think, Zoom attendees. So yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
Sure. I'm going to share a picture of what it actually looks like, in case you're wondering. So I know a lot of you are from Marquette High. So this, if you're a high school student, if you have younger siblings, this would be a great way to spend time with them. Or if you don't have any younger siblings, just let us know and we can go to the next person to get it, since it's more of a family activity. But hey, if you still want it, it's all yours. So just go ahead. If I call your name, just say yes or no in the chat. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. As you can see, it's this lovely, oh, look, the bag's coming to me. I get to show you. Thank you. All right, so you get this lovely bag, and inside of it, we've got something called to make corn syrup. And it's kind of hard to see with my background. Inside it, we've got an actual corn syrup and glitter. What is that supposed to make, Jean?
Oh, I actually forgot which one that's supposed to make, but it also comes with little
instructions.
Yeah, each activity comes with its own kind of like little informational page, and so it'll tell you what each activity is for. There are a bunch of just little activities in there, and so but it comes with a lot. So yeah, as Deborah was saying, definitely a fun activity to do with kids. Definitely a lot in there. You can definitely spend a whole day outdoors just kind of playing around with all the little activities.
Oh, here we go. I found the directions. It's great. Here we go. And camp recipe. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of some great stuff on how to make something called enchilada surprise, the tiger's eye. And then we've got you can paint your own pet rock, make a personal journal, and a bunch of woodsy bling. That's definitely up my alley. CD weaving and canvas. Yeah, there's a tons of stuff here, guys. So let me just go ahead and close my screen. Let me see here, stop the share. So the first person, any Dodger tickets? Haha, Councilman Sarnosa, you're funny. No, but you could probably make a Dodger emblem. You can make your own personal journal with a Dodger emblem on it, maybe. Okay, so the first person that I drew a name for, Tyler. Tyler, are you with us? Tyler, hello? Are you here still? If you're here, go ahead and say if you'd like the kit, or if not, then we can go to the next person. Are you there, Tyler? Okay, I don't know if Tyler's still with us. So the next person I drew is Jasmine. Jasmine, are you here? Jasmine. Okay. How about Helen? Helen, nope, Helen's good. All right, so we'll keep doing this, y'all. Okay, we've got Haley. Would you like it, Haley? No, thank you. What about Vivian? Vivian, are you here?
I think
Oh, she said no, thank you. Kelly? Yes, please. Yes, Kelly would like to take it. Perfect. All right, Kelly. I believe I have your email. If not, stay on after the program. I'll grab your email and then, or actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll grab your email or I'll grab your phone number and you can pick up your Woodsy, your camping in a box through contactless checkout. So just go ahead and stick around for the presentation. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Jean?
No, that's pretty much it. I was able to just share my contact info earlier. So yeah, feel free to follow up with any questions. I'll be more than happy to engage with y'all and provide more information. But yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to just share all this information.
Oh, yes.
And, yeah, so thank you.
There it is. Let me see. Thank you for reminding me, Andy. So if you are a Mark Keppel student, there is a link that I would like to share with you for your attendance. Let me just go. I'm going to drop this into the chat. There you go. So if you're in Park Keppel, you're part of the service clubs or with the school, go ahead and fill that out. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for your time and attending this presentation. And oh, my pleasure. We love working with APIFM, so definitely be on the lookout. I did want to go ahead and plug some of the amazing stuff that we got going on in May. We've got a whole bunch of cool programs celebrating API month. Some of the programs include, we will be having an API author panel, and I can actually just give you the date real quick for that. We're going to have several authors come and talk about their books, and that's going to be on Thursday, May 13th at 12 p.m. You can register for that program through the library's website. I'm also really excited to announce, where's the link? You know what? I can put that link into the chat. Okay. Give me just a second. You all. Okay, May 13th. Okay, so here is a link to our online calendar where you can read a little bit about the program. In addition to, also on the 30th, if you happen to like theater in any way, we're providing a free access to a live read-in of the Zip Code Place, which is brought to you by NTS Theater. That's going to be on Saturday, May 29th at 6 p.m. And it's going to, lost track of thought. It's going to be a fun story. It's called Zip Code Plays 91754, Monterey Park. And excuse my French, but it's called Bingo Bitches. It's going to be hilarious. It's about some ladies that hang out at the senior center to play bingo, and then an adversary gets involved, and it's going to be hilarious. So that's another great opportunity for you guys to celebrate because API month, because the actual writer and director are both Asian American, and two of the leads are Asian American. So, and in addition to that programming on May 8th and 15th, as well as API month, we're going to have a virtual mental health fair. So we're going to cover topics, including interactive workshops focusing on things like cognitive behavior therapy, learning how to heal from emotional wounds. Also, we're going to have an art therapy activity. in addition to that, as well as the following week, we're gonna have a panel talking about API Mental Health Month. So that's again going to be Saturday 8th and the 15th. And that link that I sent you, if you look at our library calendar, you're going to have the links to those to register for those programs as well. So that's, and then obviously if you have little ones, we have YouTube series on Asian American authors, as well as our Mandarin story time. And I believe I'm probably missing a lot since that's not my department, but check our website out, montereypark.ca.gov, which I'll put in the chat, .gov/library. So that's it from us. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.